New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Well, good evening to one and all across the United States and also around the world. It is time once again for another fun-filled throwback. And yes, it is guaranteed fun edition of the Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. I am Pastor Michael Mangus, and I am broadcasting this evening from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands, and I mean thousands of watts, in the extremely secure concrete bunker that is so top secret, I will not tell Reverend Robert Brzezinski, our Chief Inspirational Officer here at the New Thought Media Network. I will not tell him my location. Now, Diego knows, but nobody else knows the location of the super secret concrete bunker. And we're going to keep it that way too. Well, hi there, boy. I just got in just in the nick of time. We have a wonderful show for you this evening. Please feel free to interact with us by posting your comments on Facebook or StreamYard. And again, for all my shy people out there, I know you're out there, okay? All you need to do is to contact me by email. And that's pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. So the purpose of our fireside chat, as I keep sharing with you week after week, is to talk about contemporary issues from a New Thought spiritual perspective. And as I keep saying over and over again, I want us all to have a new thought about not only what is going on in the world, but also the part that we can play in bringing about peace on earth, goodwill to all men. We have a special guest this evening. All the way from Tennessee, we have the Reverend Jeff Radcliff, who will discuss the Club Q shootings and also the Marriage Equality Act going through Congress right now with bipartisan support. I've known Jeff for many years, and I know that our conversation this evening will help us all understand the LGBTQIA plus community and how we as spiritual people can assist and help as allies. Now for the news from CNN. Former President Donald Trump was dealt a major defeat after a federal appeals court on Thursday halted the special master review of documents seized from his Mar-a-Lago estate. The ruling removes a significant obstacle to the Justice Department's investigation into the mishandling of government records from Trump's time in the White House. I know that for many of you, that you do not like number 45. However, instead of hating, can we see beyond the appearance and see the divine even in him? I know it's tough, but we let the justice system take its course. And I know for our country, peace and right order and divine justice. I know it's hard to do sometimes. However, hate in any form keeps me from experiencing the divine in my life. That's something to think about this evening. Also in the news, President Biden's student loan forgiveness program will remain blocked for now, the Supreme Court announced on Thursday. But the justices did agree to hear oral arguments in the case in February, with a decision expected by June. The program would offer up to $20,000 of debt relief to millions of borrowers, but due to a long list of legal challenges, the government has stopped taking applications nearly 2 weeks ago. And I've said this for weeks now, that forgiveness of these loans is a good deal for all. And there is precedent in our Judeo-Christian background to forgive debt. Affordable education beyond the 12th grade in this country is a moral and spiritual issue that cannot be ignored anymore. Let's go to China now. Chinese authorities are using cell phones to track down protesters who are demonstrating against the government's COVID-19 restrictions, according to a recording of a phone call between a protester and police heard by CNN. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered in the streets of major Chinese cities over the weekend, calling for an end to stringent testing and lockdowns. And our prayers are for the Chinese people as they deal with oppression brought about by their government. You think our government demanded shutdown? Try going over to China. It's in every one of us to live in freedom, dignity, and justice. Also in the news, Elon Musk, he suspends Kanye West's Twitter account. Did you hear about this? Kanye West's Twitter account was suspended earlier on Friday morning after Elon Musk said it violated the platform rules on inciting violence. CNN could not confirm which specific tweet prompted West's suspension. However, on Thursday evening, West, who has legally changed his name to Ye, tweeted an altered image of the Star of David with a swastika inside. And the tweet followed a series of anti-Semitic comments made by West in the earlier months. Ye today sat down for an interview with conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, in which Ye made more anti-Semitic comments, referring to the Jewish media, and said, "I see good things about Hitler." Ye wore a full black mask in the interview. White supremacist Nick Fuentes was also on the program, which was also live streamed. Listen, hate in all forms has to be called out here. And that's been the challenge here the past 6 years, has been that it's okay to hate. And it's okay to take that hatred and turn it into violence. Ye and Fuentes were at Mar-a-Lago recently for a dinner with former President Donald Trump. And some individuals are saying because of that dinner that Trump has no chance in the 2024 election. So like I said before, again, can we love the sinner and yet speak out against the sin? Kanye West has obvious mental health issues. Can we see beyond the appearances and see the divine in those we disagree with? In a story that Jeff and I will talk about here in a few moments, Colorado Springs struggles with its past after the Club Q shooting. Mourners outside the Colorado Springs City Hall, where rainbow flag was draped, November 23rd, to honor the victims of the shooting at Club Q on November 19th. Just as Colorado Springs looks to the future, it is struggling to reckon with its past. So what's driving the news is that the Club Q shooting November the 19th that left 5 dead and at least 17 injured puts a spotlight on the city's conservative and evangelical representation and also its reputation and a history of battling against LGBTQ rights in that city. The alleged shooter's motive remains unclear, but the targeting of a gay nightclub known throughout the region is causing residents to re-examine the Colorado Springs politics and also the culture. Also in the news this evening, along the same lines, the Senate passes marriage equality bill. The U.S. Senate voted on Tuesday 61-36 to pass a Respect for Marriage Act, which will write marriage equality into federal law, maintaining it even if the Supreme Court overturns its 2015 ruling that establishes equal marriage rights nationwide. So what has happened, especially in the Senate, is that individuals on the Republican side of the aisle, very brave, by the way, went ahead and said, we need to do this. And that includes my own state senator, Rob Portman, who just happens to have a gay son. This is a civil rights issue. We need to speak up and speak out about this and continue to do so. We as spiritual people must end the hatred of all individuals. So what feeling do you have about LGBTQIA plus individuals? I'm proud of the New Thought community, who for years has stood up to the hatred and prejudice. Many of our New Thought ministers are gay, lesbian, and transgender. The bottom line is that all of this hate stems from a misinterpretation of the Bible. LGBTQ individuals are children of God who have known of their same-sex attraction for years. It's not something that was just that they decided upon. Many of my gay and lesbian friends knew early when they were growing up as children. They knew that there was something interesting about them, that they liked people of the same sex. Religion must repent of its hatred and anger, or it will die. 14 minutes and 37 seconds, Diego. I think that's a record. What do you think? Thank you to you and Jeff for holding down the fort while I was coming in here. Well, hi there. This is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am the Reverend Michael Mangus, and let me see if I can bring this up here just for a second. Let's go to some announcements. Yours truly here is parking himself at Summit CSL. For more information, go to summitcsl.org. There you will find information about our wonderful Sunday gatherings online at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. Grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso, whatever that you would like, and please join us. We have one of the best services, I believe, in New Thought, because we have a balance of the M's, the music, the message, and also meditation. And this Sunday, we will have a special message from our spiritual director and leader, Diana Mangus. So go to summitcsl.org for more info on how to join our Zoom call. And our service is also simulcast on our Facebook page. And our Facebook page also has past broadcasts of the Fireside Chat, plus also yours truly when he's doing prayer on the New Thought Media Network. Again, the programming schedule is just amazing. The amount of programs that we have now. I remember back a few years ago when we only had maybe 5 or 6 hours. And now, gosh, how many, Diego? Over 30? Yeah, over 30. Yeah, at least 30. We have all kinds of programs from not only individuals, but also centers from around the country. And you can play a part in it by going to ntmedia.org. There you'll find out more information. Also, a special program coming up. Myself and Reverend Laura Topper will be holding a special Hanukkah celebration starting on December 18th. It's Hanukkah for everyone. It's a wonderful way for all of us to welcome back the light. That is the purpose of the Yuletide season. The burning of the Yule log, again, is to welcome back the light. So again, for more information, just go to ntmedia.org. There, if you could, click on the donate button, partner with us. Let's get this message to the whole world. I know that we have doors opening to us each and every day. My question to you is, can you help us go through the doors? So again, go to ntmedia.org/donate. All right. Time for a break. Time for me to catch my breath. And this is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Watch me change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
And thank you, voice talent, Jay Silvers, all the way from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Good to have him helping here. Well, our guest this evening is the Reverend Jeff Radcliff. He's an ordained minister in the metaphysical tradition. Reverend Jeff was ordained by the International Metaphysical Ministry in 2011, where he was also awarded a bachelor's degree in metaphysical science. He is currently working on his master's degree through IMM. Reverend Jeff was also ordained in the Divine Science denomination of New Thought in 2022, and myself and Diego were able to witness that. Since metaphysics is such a varied and open field of study, Reverend Jeff's metaphysical interests include color, energy, sound, chakra healing therapies, angels, crystals, past lives, channeled information, chaos magic, and UFOs. So he covers the gamut there. Reverend Jeff is also available for the usual ministerial duties such as weddings, memorials, funerals, animal blessings, home clearings, and also blessings. And he also offers spiritual counseling, intuitive channeling, direct from spirit, energy healing, and also affirmative prayer support. And occasionally, he will, for you, get out his tarot deck and do a reading for you. So we welcome from Tennessee this evening, Reverend Jeff Radcliff. Hello, Reverend Jeff.
Hey, and you know what's interesting is that all those healing modalities that I can use for other people, interestingly enough, do not work on myself, which is why I'm coming to you live from a hospital bed at a rehab facility
Right.
somewhere in Tennessee.
Somewhere, and we can't even mention where it's at.
No, unfortunately, but we don't have the bunker that you have. So,
Well,
but
listen, I've had to, we've had some shellings around here, so we've had to make sure that I'm
right,
safe.
yeah.
Jeff, thank you very much. I know that
Hey,
you,
I'm
go ahead.
here for you. I'm here for you. Even if I have to wear a hospital gown to do it, I'm there for you, Mike.
Well, Jeff, thank you very much for being on tonight. I wanted to have you on. You are a wonderful gay man, and I wanted to have you
Thank
on
you.
about what is going on, especially with the Club Q shooting. How have you and also the community been affected by that?
Um, it just goes to show that there is no truly safe place for marginalized people. Especially when we have, and I learned a new word just this evening, actually, as I was finishing up my prep for tonight. Um, there's no safe place for marginalized communities as long as there is stochastic terrorism.
All right,
And
you're going to have to explain that to
yeah,
me
we're gonna
and
have
the
to break it
audience.
down. Yeah. Well, basically, stochastic in everyday language means random, basically. Terrorism, of course, violence motivated by ideology. But basically, the idea behind stochastic terrorism, and there are 4 points, and I wish I had uh, had an opportunity to make a slide of this to send to Diego to put up on screen. So you'll just have to bear with me while I read it.
Okay.
Uh, the idea behind stochastic terrorism is that there is a leader or an organization that uses rhetoric in the mass media against a group of people.
I
We've
wonder
already
who that is.
we've seen that. Yes.
Okay.
This rhetoric, while hostile and hateful, doesn't explicitly tell anyone to carry out an act of violence against that group of people. But a person feeling threatened is motivated to do so as a result.
Yes.
And we've seen it. We've seen it. That individual act of political violence can't be predicted as such, but that violence will happen. That violence will happen is much more probable thanks to the rhetoric. And if you think back to almost 2 years ago, um, everybody kept talking about a peaceful protest, a peaceful protest. Then came the rhetoric, and the next thing you know, there came the violence. The violence was made more probable because of the rhetoric that folks were hearing. So this,
Well, yeah, and I think Jeff too is that the rhetoric has been made okay by a certain segment of society. It's okay to get mad. It's okay to take your anger out in violence. It's okay to go down
right?
to the local gun store and go ahead and shoot up a place that is normally a place of safety
Yeah.
for the LGBTQ community. So,
But the
oh,
thing
go
of it
ahead.
is, and I'm almost reluctant to take this stance publicly, but I need to say, even though we've got the rhetoric, even though we've got that hate speech coming from this one or that one or the other one, and they do have a certain amount of responsibility attached to that. But in the final analysis, they're not the ones who carried out the violence.
Right.
And we have to hold those people accountable. And we're starting to see that take place as well. So thank the Spirit for that. But the question becomes, how much of that responsibility do we lay at the feet of those people who are preaching hatred and discord and strife?
Well, and I think also too, Jeff, is the individuals again who perpetrate that you need a gun at home to protect yourself.
Right.
That it's okay for you to go down to your local gun dealer, buy magazine after magazine, not be questioned about anything. And then if you happen to have a screw loose, then go out and do an act of violence like what happened not only at Club Q, but also at the Walmart and other places here. So,
Right.
yeah, so it's the gay, lesbian, transgender community has come a long way. However, again, that there's still pockets of these violence, which I believe, again, is stoked by individuals taking the Bible literally and not seriously. Talk about that.
Um, yeah, I have a problem with people who take the Bible literally because um, the Old Testament, which is what a lot of their leaning on is Old Testament, was written for a nomadic new or Near Eastern uh, people, over 2,000 years ago.
Right.
You know, try as you might, you cannot equate what they were living with and what those words were meant for them to hear with the way that we live life today.
Right.
You know, we have refrigeration. They didn't have refrigeration back in the day. That's why they were forbidden to eat certain foods because they spoiled quickly in the hot desert sun.
Right. Like shellfish.
Yeah, shellfish, um, pork. Now, there's just so much of it, and they try to take those narrow little passages and apply them to us, and it doesn't work. Society has moved on. We've grown as a people. Our intellect has grown. Our capacity um, to embrace more complex ideas has grown ex- exponentially. You know,
Right.
um, that's why that's why I also have a problem with some of the court system, uh, and we won't name any particular bodies, SCOTUS, who there are some people who seem to think that, oh, we have to interpret the Constitution literally. I don't think that the founding fathers intended it to be that way. That
Right.
it was intended to be a living document that grew and changed with the mores and the societal bent of the day. So we can't say that just because it's not listed in the Constitution doesn't mean that we don't have rights to it.
Right.
You
Well,
know.
and I'm surprised because I've talked to some far right individuals, libertarians, and I'm
Mhm.
going, how can being a libertarian, how can you say that having what you want as less government in your life as possible? How can you say that two individuals who love each other, being of the same sex, how can you say that they're not allowed the same civil rights as a heterosexual couple. Again,
Right.
I just personally, I mean, I don't understand, and I get that a lot of this again is fueled from our evangelical brothers and sisters, evangelical Christianity,
Right.
also uh, the Baptist Church and other organizations who just say, well, no, it's a sin. And that again, so let me ask you a question, Jeff. When did you know that you were gay?
Oh, when I was probably about 5, I bel I remember a certain incident, when I was in kindergarten. Uh, I remember 2 separate incidences, 2 separate events.
Okay.
Thank you. 2 separate events that kinda made me, as I looked back on my life when the feelings actually started to come up, and was like, well, it didn't make much sense when I was 5 or 6, but it sure as hell makes a lot of sense now.
Well, and again, that you also echo the sentiments of many of my gay and lesbian friends who told me that they knew for a long time, but
Mhm.
they for their own self-preservation, they had to keep it quiet.
Right.
Um,
And
go
that's
ahead.
and that's why it's, that's why we have trouble coming out to people and, you know, them dealing with it. My family, for the most part, was really pretty accepting of me, except for my mother.
Okay,
And for the longest time, she wouldn't talk about it. She wouldn't, bring up anything. We never discussed it in any way, shape, or form. Meanwhile, I had a sister who was going to a Pentecostal church, and she was
okay,
fine with me. My
okay,
dad, my dad is one of those. Um, you live your life, I'll live my life. Who cares?
right.
He's so laid back, he's almost comatose. That's my favorite joke about my dad. Uh, but my mom, it took her a long time to come to the realization that I was still the same Jeff that she always knew,
Yes.
and that I really hadn't changed, that there was nothing new about me, that, there was this one little piece of information that she was not privy to for the majority of my life. And me, I had wrestled through this stuff years ago, and
Yeah.
I had worked my way through it. So I was cool. I was cool as crap about it. Mom, not so much, God rest her soul. But, she finally came around. She finally came around, and, the last, few years of her life, we were able to talk about things, and things were good.
Well, hi there. If you wonder what you've stumbled onto this evening, this is the Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am Reverend Michael, and I'm speaking this evening all the way. This shows how dedicated this guy is, all the way from his rehab facility. Reverend Jeff
Yeah.
Radcliff is our
Let me
guest.
re let me reposition my pillow since I don't have a nurse handy to do that for me. No, actually, I told him that I had a live broadcast coming up, and they were to stay out of the room while I was
Okay.
sitting here,
Did,
which is not fair because of my roommate. If he needs something, they're gonna have to come in and interrupt us, but, so far, we've been alright.
yeah, well, again, you put the on air sign.
Hey,
for,
yeah,
for those people who have been or are in radio, is that that on air sign sometimes doesn't mean crap.
no,
So, the sales department will come in, production will come in, the general manager, program director will come in. So you can go ahead and put that sign up and on, but it's not
yeah,
going to help you much. Jeff talked to us. There, the two gentlemen who went ahead and subdued the shooter. One of
mhm,
them was married. to a
Right.
wonderful lady, and that they were there celebrating a birthday. So they're saying, well, why is a straight couple and their kids there for a drag show? Go
Oh my
ahead.
God, if you've never been to a drag show, you are missing out. It's fun. Now, now I will grant you, I don't go to drag shows much anymore because they're so loud.
Okay.
Um, drag queen for some reason, the drag queens I have known and loved in my life have had these really loud, boisterous voices, and then they give them a microphone, okay? And then they turn that sucker up to 10,
Right.
and you can hear them. You can hear them 15 miles away. It's just too loud for me. I prefer a much quieter environment, but they're fun to see everything from traditional um, transvestites or cross dressers who mimic the look of a real woman, and
Mhm.
and some of them can pull this off magnificently. It is
Yes.
amazing. Then you've got those who do a little more um, out there kind of um, almost a parody type thing, but it's all done in fun. It's all done in love. And then you've got the ones that I talk about from time to time that are in scary drag, and they are just like they are fierce. That's the only
Wow.
word that I can describe. But if you haven't been to a drag show, you need to go because they're fun.
And that in Pittsburgh, not that far away from where I was living, at the local volunteer fire department, they had drag bingo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Drag.
And I have pulled up here the Reverend Dr. Darrell Watkins, who is the co-pastor of Sunshine Cathedral down in Fort Lauderdale.
Who
He
is
is doing,
technically my boss, so to
oh,
speak, because he is, as a divine science minister, and he is head of Divine Science Federation International. So he's, and it was through his auspices and the wonderful teacher, Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart, that I was able to get my uh, divine science ordination.
if you have never watched Sunshine Cathedral, please do, because I'm telling you, they
Absolutely.
are the most liturgical New Thought community I have ever seen. I mean,
Jarrell doesn't even have to put on makeup. As soon as he puts on that robe, that's his ministerial drag, and that's what he calls it.
so in honor of individuals who passed, who were killed in the Club Q, uh, Darrell
See,
Darrell is doing a drag Bible study. And like, have you seen that yet, Jeff?
I have not yet. No.
Oh my goodness. So oh yeah, it's on their Facebook page, on the Sunshine Cathedral's Facebook page. But he comes out all flamboyant, and with the hair and everything, and does a little dance on stage, and then he sits down and then he says, "Let us pray." It is, you have to watch it. But there is a serious part of it, is that, again, that he was teaching from the Bible
Mhm.
about drag. And that he says it's, again, you have to really listen to it. I I think I'm going to putting that up on my Facebook page and seeing what some of my evangelical pastors say, because I have a few of them that follow me. So, but what Darrell said was, I mean, he backed it up with not only his knowledge, but also with the use of scripture. So I think that, the bottom line is this: hatred has to stop. this craziness of not letting people be who they are, the craziness of settling things or taking out your anger using guns has to stop.
Right.
This craziness has to stop. And that the again, the gay and lesbian community for years have taken refuge, since they couldn't take refuge in the church, they took refuge at bars. So
Right.
that was a meeting place again, and a place of safety. So now uh, gay and lesbian bars are having to wand everyone coming in. They have to, again, they're having to put together protocol so that individuals, again, to try to minimize the damage.
But
They
you know what? That also gives security the opportunity to revive that old Mae West saying, as they're wanting people who come in, is that a gun in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
What do you think about that, Diego? Wasn't
There
that a
you go.
good joke?
Now I
Yeah,
do want to.
he's you like that? You like that, Diego? Okay, he liked it. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, good. I do want to call you out on something that you said earlier tonight,
Okay,
which is we need to love the sinner but hate the sin.
okay,
That has been used against the LGBTQIA community for years.
okay.
That was as justification to try to use conversion tactics on us to get
Right,
us to change, and to exclude us from uh, maintaining any position in church, including just being a congregant in a lot
right.
of cases.
Well,
Yeah, so that was used against us very hatefully, and so
well, thank you for just bringing that up. Again, that was not meant to be
right.
that.
Of course not, and most people don't know the origin behind that, and so, they use it innocently, and
Okay,
while I understand that it was an innocent usage of it, I did want to bring up the fact that, it's not really all that innocent.
okay. Well, thank you. I really
Don't do it again, or I'll come up there and find your bunker and
I,
and I'll bring 50 drag queens with me.
oh, well, but
So you
bring
will
on,
be in big trouble. They will read they will read your
especially with drag
beads.
queens. I'll tell you.
They will
Uh,
definitely read your beads.
I know they will. Hi, good evening. This is the Friday evening fireside chat here on the New Thought Media Network. Oh, my apologies. Again, I did not mean, thank you for calling me on that. And that was done in love. It wasn't done.
Right.
And it's okay. I'm still learning too. I
Understood.
wanted, I wanted to talk about uh, the, the last story I did
Mhm.
on the, again, on the, I'll get the name of it right here. The Respect for Marriage Act, which
Right.
passed. And I'm, again, just really heartened that, again, that people went ahead and crossed the aisle, that there was 11 or 12
Yes.
Republicans that crossed the aisle and said that we would like this. Now, again, that this is not a perfect bill. All
Oh,
right. Yeah, it's not a perfect bill, because what it says is that, for example, like here in Ohio, we have a Republican governor, we have a Republican House and Senate majority. They could, if they wanted to, outlaw same sex marriage. What this is saying, what the law is saying, is that if a couple goes to like another state and gets married, then that state has to recognize the state, let's say of Ohio, who has a anti same sex marriage law, that they still have to respect that as far as with the rights. And again, this bill went through several rewrites before they could get, again, some consensus on it. What is your feeling about that?
I think it's good. Now, living in Tennessee, we have a Republican governor and a Republican supermajority in both House and the Senate here. So it's not inconceivable to me to imagine them going ahead and banning same-sex marriage taking place in the state of Tennessee. I mean, they were grudging about it whenever the Supreme Court said, "Oh, you have to do this." Now they have an out.
Right.
But yeah, so I can also see, knowing some of the people who misrepresent me in Nashville.
Okay.
And I won't name any names. But
Oh, why not? Okay, go ahead.
Bill Haggerty and oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. What's her name? That blonde woman from down below, down south of Nashville. What's her name? Blackburn, Marsha
Okay.
Blackburn. They're not going to do anything on a federal level. They can't. Their hands are tied pretty much. But down here in the state level, I can see not only them banning same-sex marriage here, but trying to find ways to get around having to recognize a union that was performed in another state.
Right.
Because I've seen it with the abortion thing and them trying to weasel their way around it. These people down here on the red side of the aisle, they are
Yes.
very, for lack of a better word, they're pretty sneaky. And yeah, and they're going to try what it is that they're going to think is the right thing to do, not because they want to represent their constituents so much as they want to blow that dog whistle to get
Right.
more campaign funds to keep them in office. To
Right.
me, and I'm sorry I keep hitting the table where my laptop is on. I just noticed it looks like I'm in San Francisco and there's an earthquake. Um, but they're there strictly to work for themselves and to keep themselves in, uh, keep themselves in a job.
And that if they can, they can raise money again in the state, but also that a lot of times that they will again go out of state and say, here we are defending the rights here in Tennessee. Please help us with your campaign contribution.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Or let there be a little snag in one of the states where same-sex marriage is recognized, and they're going to jump on that like a chicken on a June bug. They're not going to let that pass and say, "Oh, well, see, this is what happens when you pass that kind of legislation."
Right. Well, and also, again, it's not a perfect law, but again, at least it has some guardrails if the Supreme Court, which is again highly conservative, if they go ahead and they start attacking the 2015 ruling.
Well,
Go ahead.
keep in mind that this also covers interracial marriage as well,
Yes.
and other forms of marriage expression. So I can't imagine Clarence Thomas, who's married to a white woman. I can't imagine him cutting off his nose to spite his face. But yet, on the other hand, there's a part of me that can see that happening.
Well,
So
and like
it's kind of hard to say where he's going to go with that.
and like I have said to individuals who said that it is their right not to vote. Elections have consequences here.
Mhm.
The best thing that again, people say, well, let's go out on the streets and do that, and protest. Well, that's one part of that.
Right.
The other part is for us to hold our elected officials accountable for this stuff. And there has been for years, for years, gay politicians
Mhm.
for years. So it's this. I thought again in our red state of Ohio, you'll see starting from Cleveland um, going all the way down to Cincinnati and also over in the Athens, Ohio area. You'll see blue on a map, uh, and that Rob Portman, he was the outgoing senator from the state of Ohio, he voted for this bill. The reason being is because he has a gay son.
It's
So,
amazing how open-minded people become when they find out that an issue hits close to home. Um, and the thing of it is, gay and lesbian people have always been there. 100 years ago, 200 years ago, they didn't have a word for it until the late 1800s when it was claimed. The word homosexual was coined by a German uh, physician, but people were doing it. They just weren't talking about it. You know, I mean, even Abraham Lincoln had a male lover. So,
mhm.
which is probably what drove his wife crazy.
Oh, I don't know. I
I
can
don't-
from the history books, I think she already had her
yeah.
own issues. So, Jeff, how can we be in the New Thought community? How can we be supportive here?
I am a divine scientist, and the basis of divine science is actually the basis of all new thought, which is to practice the omnipresence of God. There is no spot where God is not, in other words. Everything that we see is made out of the substance of spirit.
Right.
Everything that we want to manifest for our lives is going to be made out of the substance of spirit. Every person we see is made out of that same substance. I'm made out of it. You're made out of it. Um, Dude who shot up Colorado Springs, Hitler was made of it. We have to see the Christ in people.
Yes.
That's that's what we're called to do. We're called to love. That otherwise we'd still be under Mosaic law.
Right.
When Jesus, the man, came on to the scene, uh, became Christed at his baptism. Um, he was both holy man and holy God.
Yes.
And so we have to remember that that is true of us as well. He broke that Mosaic covenant and put us under a covenant of grace.
Yes.
We have been, as a society, and many Christians, the ones who have not been baptized in the Church of the Orange Kool-Aid drinker.
Number 45. Go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, TFG as they call him, the former guy. We've been slow to offer grace to people. Even Hitler, Jeffrey Dahmer, and I've had arguments with people who have really cussed me out for well, how can you say that they were God in expression? Well, they were. Now, I'm not responsible for the thoughts that they thought or the actions that they took, but underneath it all
Yes.
is that spark of the divine presence. That's what we're lacking. That's what we need to work on, is seeing God in everyone because it's already there, like it or not.
And I think too that to, again, that's something that we talk a lot or we bring out into the open is, again, each and every person's divinity.
Mhm.
We may not agree with them. We may not agree with their lifestyle. We may not agree with what is going on in their lives, but we can still love
Exactly.
at a deep level. And so I think that's something that we can, again, hold the high watch on, is that people will wake up to their own divinity and also see the divinity in other people. Reverend Jeff, we're out of time. Thank you so very much. I mean, you are a
Oh.
trooper. I mean, from your convalescent.
From my convalescent bed, yes.
Yes, you came on the show. What a guy. Well, listen, Jeff, we'll have
My
you
pleasure.
back on, and thank you so very much, and thank you for being such a bright light that you are.
You are so.
It's really an honor. It's really an honor to see you get ordained this summer. So.
Oh well, yeah, and to see you to go through your award process as well. Now, you were not ordained, but you were boosted in stature.
Yes, I was.
And that was pretty cool too. I'm not as up on what CSL does. You know,
Well,
with their
yeah.
students.
So we try to keep that hush hush. I'll tell you
Well,
later.
yeah. Okay.
Jeff Radcliff, thank you so very much. We'll have you back on here again. Happy holy days to you and to your family also.
And to yours as well.
Okay,
Thanks
thank you
very
so very much. All right, time to go. The music's in the background. Again, please check out all of our programming on ntmedia.org. There's a complete schedule. We pray for you twice a day. We are here for you. Prayer at ntmedia.org. Again, a world-class prayer team will pray for you. We are here for you. We love you. So on behalf of myself and Diego Reyes, my producer, and also Jeff Radcliff, this is Pastor Michael Mangus, wishing you a very pleasant good night.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.